Day 10 of the Niners training camp wrapped up, and in this video I hope to highlight some players that really stood out today, but I'm not going to be talking about the quarterback position. I did that in an earlier video, so if you're interested in that, make sure to go watch that one. But let's jump in to the offensive side of the ball and players that stuck out there. Diving first into the wide receiver position group, we had some news today as Brandon Ayuk didn't participate, but Willie Snead continued to go off and he had a touchdown pass today from Purdy, and Juwan Jennings and Tay Martin also brought in touchdown passes from Purdy. A surprising player who stuck out in the wide receiver position room today was Isaiah Winstead. He was dominant on his one-on-one performance, but also caught a nice slant and almost took it in for a touchdown. So with some of those wide receivers out of the way that stood out today, let's jump back into the backfield where Christian McCaffrey had a great day, having several runs of 5+ yards. CMC looks like the same back he was last year, and I'm excited to see what he does this upcoming season. But someone that's continued to stand out this training camp that didn't do too well last year is Ty Davis-Price. Today he continues to look explosive, and I would be surprised if the Niners actually cut him. It's going to be a really hard choice who the Niners are going to keep on their roster, because the running back room is frankly stacked right now. I mean, even Kalen LeBourne, the undrafted free agent running back this year, has had an extremely strong camp, and I'm excited to see what each one of these running backs can actually do in the preseason and how this battle plays out, as this is one of the deepest positions across the entire roster. So moving now onto another position, the tight end position on the offensive side, let's talk about players that stuck out there. Starting out with the starter, George Kittle had a nice catch of around 15 yards today, and another player that's continued to make a strong name for himself throughout this training camp is Braden Willis. And today he got open and nearly made a catch from Sam Darnold on a 35-yard pass down the field, but was punched loose. Of the two rookie tight ends, I would say Braden Willis is the better one at this point so far in training camp. He gets open more frequently, catches the ball more consistently, and is good both in his run blocking and pass blocking. Latu, in comparison, looks strong in his blocking, but not nearly as consistent hands as Willis. Moving now to the offensive line, some notes here where Aaron Banks is still being held out in concussion protocol. Jalen Moore is also still being held out with his knee injury. Speaking about the Niners offensive line, the defensive line were really the stars of today's practice. More notably, Austin Bryant. Bryant's been held out of practices recently, but today he looked unblockable, coming away with multiple sacks. But he's not the only player that did well today. Clelin Ferrell also had a dominant day rushing the quarterback, getting multiple sacks as well. The Niners are actually looking extremely strong at defensive end despite Nick Bosa being there, because Drake Jackson also had a strong day, stopping Deebo Samuel when he tried to bounce it to the outside. He was able to funnel him back interior to the rest of the defense. Jackson continues to look dominant throughout this camp, and I think he's the favorite to start opposite of Nick Bosa. But let me know what you guys think about that down below. Moving now into the interior of the defensive line, Kevin Givens had a strong day, even coming away with a sack. Moving now into the back half of the Niners front seven, the linebacking position, they also had an extremely dominant day, starting out with Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. He picked off Trey Lance and then nearly picked off Sam Darnold later in practice. Dre Greenlaw also had his hand in turning over the ball, as when Christian McCaffrey was targeted on Purdy on 4th down, he tipped up in the air, resulting in a pick from Tashaun Gibson. Speaking about Gibson, let's move in the secondary position. Gibson had that pick today, but he also had the pass breakup against George Kittle. A player who did struggle in the secondary today was Charvarius Ward, who gave up 2 touchdowns, one to Willie Snead and one to Juwan Jennings. Notably, rookie standout Deshaun Jamison had an off day today, giving up 2 PIs. With the offense and defense out of the way, now it's time to talk about the Niners kickers. Today, Zane Gonzalez hit his only attempt from 45, and Jake Moody connected on his lone attempt of 48. These are just some of the things that stood out to me today in training camp, and I love to hear what stood out to you. It would also mean a ton to me if you liked and subscribed. And as always, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.